His MVP. Goal swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. One swing. Drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field, way back there. Shot again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Texas Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you on a Thursday night, mixing it up a little bit after that Texas Longhorns Wednesday victory. Normally, our Rangers shows are on Wednesday nights in the offseason, but with the big game yesterday and, of course, the big Texas Longhorns win, we're coming at you on a Thursday night, talking all things Texas Rangers baseball. Really looking forward to this one. We've got a good show planned for you. Going to go through some of the latest transactions the Rangers have made, including one, I believe, yesterday, maybe today. I don't know. During this time of the year, I get my days all confused. Anybody else? So Mason Molina acquired from the Brewers, left-handed pitcher. Not any major league experience, pitched for the University of Arkansas, Texas Tech as well. We'll get into him. Give you a little update on the Roki Sasaki Sweepstakes. And then we're going to talk a little Joc Pederson press conference. That was a joy to watch. If you have not watched the Joc Pederson presser yet, when he was introduced formally as a Texas Ranger, CY was there, got the jersey, got the new threads. It was awesome. Hard not to like Joc Pederson. I really, really think that is going to end up being a really positive signing for the Rangers in more ways than one. But before I get started here at Right on Rangers, y'all know we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during this MLB offseason. You got to get your information from somewhere. Appreciate you choosing Right on Rangers for your Texas Rangers content. We're going to get to all your comments and questions. Obviously, we have some things that we're going to be covering, some topics we pre-selected, but y'all let me know what you want to talk about. I'll do my best to check the comments periodically, and I will get to questions as well. We'll see where the show takes us. That's always half the fun of this, right? We'll see what y'all got on your minds, see what you want to talk about Texas Rangers related. And, of course, if you're stopping by, you're here for the Longhorns, you're here for Cowboys. Y'all know I cover a bunch of different teams, so we'll definitely make time to talk about whatever. It might just get on the back burner a little bit. You want to talk Texas Longhorns, you want to talk Dallas Cowboys, whatever the case may be. I'll try and make sure I get around back to it, but we'll try and stay as focused as we can. But hello to everybody. I see some comments coming in on YouTube already. What's up to you guys? Thank you so much. And TikTok as well. It's going to be a great show. Let's go ahead and let's get things rolling here. So first of all, we had a signing, Mason Molina, lefty from the Milwaukee Brewers, and he was actually drafted in the 7th round of the 2024 draft by the Brewers. So this is a draft pick just from last year. I'm not imagining Mason Molina is going to be a guy that contributes in a big way at the major league level. I mean, maybe, but let me read you some of the stats on him. In Arkansas, went to the University of Arkansas in 2024. Last season with the Razorbacks, 4-2 record. He actually started 13 games, made a total of 15 appearances, but 13 games started. 4.47 ERA, and granted, look, we all know the SEC, one of the toughest baseball conferences in the NCAA. I know we've got all the SEC bias crap going on right now with football. I don't know if there's a lot of argument. The SEC, one of the best baseball conferences in all of college baseball and all the NCAA. So look, I take the 4.47 ERA a little bit with a grain of salt. You're going up against a lot of tough teams. It's a gauntlet. But 4.47 ERA looks like 81 strikeouts. This is a number that jumped out to me. 81 Ks in 58 innings pitched for Mason Molina, newly acquired left-handed pitcher from the Milwaukee Brewers by the Texas Rangers, of course. Looks like he pitched in A-ball for the Brewers, and he had 2 appearances, 0 ERA. Not sure if it was injury-related, what was going on with him. I'm trying to read some information on the fly for you, but I think it's pretty safe to say this could be a guy that starts out in the minor league system. Don't think this is going to be somebody that the Rangers are going to be throwing into the 7th or 8th inning right out the gate. But nevertheless, I think there's some promise here. You've got a guy that can get some swing and misses. You've got a guy that's played SEC baseball, played some really, really high-level baseball. So I'm interested to see what he looks like. Don't know if we're going to be seeing him at spring training. Probably not. But Mason Molina trade Milwaukee Brewers. And I believe in that trade, let me see if I can get the name on who we let go in that trade. I had it on the tip of my tongue just a second ago. I'm going to try if I can get it back for you guys real quick. But that's been it. Looks like, Grant Anderson. Grant Anderson was traded. That's right. I knew some of y'all would like that. Grant Anderson. Richard, appreciate that. I see your comment right there, bud. So I know not a lot of us were Grant Anderson fans. I think Grant had some moments. He had the funky delivery. He had some games in a Rangers uni where he had some success. But look, a 6.35 ERA in 49 appearances for the Rangers over the last 2 seasons. Look, I don't know why the Brewers would have wanted to make this trade. When I saw Grant Anderson going for a young lefty, pretty much recently drafted 7th round, they must really see something in Grant Anderson. I mean, am I right? I don't know why you would want Grant Anderson otherwise. I know this sounds like a hate piece on Grant. Nothing against any of the Rangers personally. Y'all know whether it's the worst player on the roster or the best, I want to see him do well. But we call it like it is. Grant had a really, really rough 2 years for the Rangers. Again, 6.35 ERA, 21.5% strikeout rate. I mean, look, not great numbers. So maybe the Brewers see something in Grant Anderson that all of us can't. And you do know sometimes it works out that way. A guy goes to another team and suddenly he's like lights out and the best relief pitcher in the league. I mean, it can happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but we know very, very well that the Rangers have had their instances trading away pitchers, and it just hasn't ended up great for the Rangers. The, Clases and the Kyle Hendrickses, those types of deals give you pause when we trade away a guy like Grant Anderson. Like they must know something we don't. But you know what? Ever since Chris Young has taken over, I can't say I have a lot of pause or reservation. Yeah, clearly Cole Reagans is one in the CY era that a lot of us are going to look at. Like, man, that would have been nice to have, but I would much rather have the 2023 World Series ring than Cole Reagans. I know Cole Reagans has had a couple of really good years for the Royals now, but give me that trade all day long if it ends up resulting in a Texas Rangers World Series. I'm not going to be sweating a Cole Reagans deal in a World Series year. So I give CY the pass on that one. You win a World Series, any kind of bad trade, we can sweep under the rug a little bit and get over it in time. Am I right? So Grant Anderson going to the Brewers. We'll see how they decide to use him. Mason Molina, I don't know if he's going to be making an impact this year, but I'll be interested to see what he does in the minor leagues and how he progresses. Got some swing and miss stuff. Lefty, played for Texas Tech, played for the University of Arkansas. He'll be a guy to watch for sure. All right. Roki Sasaki Sweepstakes is next, but let me take a minute here to say what's up. Appreciate all of y'all tuning in. And I see a couple people have already followed. Man, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then I'll make sure I get to YouTube and X and Insta and all you guys as well. Not trying to forget about anybody right now. So let me get started here. What's up, everybody? Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Rockies going to the World Series. Yeah, look. The Rangers were 50-1 in 2023. Who knows? Clearly, I'm not rooting for the Rockies, but if there was some teams I wouldn't mind winning the World Series, Rockies would be up there. Let me keep going. Do I see us being real contenders for Sasaki? Bob, appreciate the comment. Just about to get into Sasaki here, so hang tight on that one. I'm going to wait and see if I can get anything else. Saw him off, you wish. Aggies. Hey, look, I know I probably got some Aggies fans that are Rangers fans. No disrespect, but we all know who won the Lone Star Showdown this year. Grant Anderson, some people are helping me out. Appreciate that. Rangers going to choke next year. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. A lot of people sleeping on the Rangers this year. I'm not surprised by it. Excited to see a healthy squad, no doubt. Was Molina on the Texas Tech team with Young? That's a really good question. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that on the fly. I'll see if I can, but I don't know. 2022, I think Young was drafted in 2020 or 2021, wasn't he? So if Young was drafted, in 2021, I believe, or 2020, one of the two. I know it's one of the two. I know he would not have played with Josh Young. So a little bit younger, a little bit before Josh Young's time. But hey, they got the Texas Tech connection. I know he ends up going to the University of Arkansas, does Mason Molina, newly acquired pitcher, left-handed pitcher from the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for Rangers right-handed pitcher Grant Anderson. But I'm sure they'll bond a little bit over the Texas Tech. You'd think it, at least. Who's winning the AL West? Rangers. Duh. Rangers winning it. You probably don't win the World Series if you don't make that trade. Yeah, look, I probably would have to agree. I think Aroldis Chapman it made us all really, really sick to our stomachs. Most times he came in September and October. Like, Chap was either going to give you lights out, 1, 2, 3, or it was going to be a roller coaster ride. But as I always would say during the season, a lot of y'all, I think, who have been with me for a while know we went live almost after every Rangers game last year with a few exceptions. Look, I said constantly throughout the summer and the Rangers season, whenever Chapman would come in, get your barf bag ready. Get it ready, right? You are going to need it because it's either going to be an adventure or you are going to see some of the most magnificent pitching you've ever seen. Like, seriously, he had that ability. But look, I will do the Chapman trade over and over again. 2023 World Series ring. You'll lose Cole Reagans every single time if you know you've got a ring. Anybody else that's saying otherwise, like, I don't know if you're really a true fan. I don't know who on earth would be arguing that the Reagans deal should not have happened considering the 2023 World Series result. Let me keep going here. Let me see what I got. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, perfect. I think we're caught up. Appreciate all of y'all. We're going to get into Sasaki Sweepstakes in a second. YouTube, what's up to all y'all? Natalie says, we needed Joc's personality last year. He's such a funny guy. Look, I think Joc is just going to be one of those vocal, just natural leaders that really the Rangers, I know there's some guys on the team, like you had your Scherzers, you had your Evos. Clearly, guys like Marcus Semien, Corey Seager are leaders by example, no doubt. You definitely had Dolly as the personality, I think, of the group, the swag. I do like having a guy like Joc, just a vocal, loud leader. I think it is going to help out a lot, and I think it's going to make this Rangers team really fun to watch. Joc, of course, is a really good baseball player. That helps. He mashes fastballs, has a great power stroke. Joc, I think, is going to do some damage from the middle of our order. He definitely could have been used last year. I think y'all know from the beginning of the season last year, I told you I wish we would have gone and got Joc last year he could have absolutely been used. Hindsight's 2020, but I would have loved the Rangers to make this move at the last offseason. I think having Joc Pederson in 2024, we may have been a playoff team with Joc Pederson in 2024. I know that might sound like a hot take. I really don't think it is. I think the Rangers make the playoffs if they have Joc Pederson in 2024. Feel free to disagree, but I think in 2025, he is going to be one of several reasons why the Rangers bounce back and get back to October baseball in 2025 in this next season. This is a good one right here. Gulf Coast Clips, what's up? If you still tuned in, appreciate the comment here. What do you think Wyatt Langford's ceiling is in Major League Baseball? We've talked about this a number of times. Like, what is Wyatt's ceiling? How good can he really be? I can see Wyatt Langford being a 30 for 30 player. I think that is the ceiling for Wyatt, a consistent 30 for 30 guy. I don't think he's going to be somebody that hits 40 bombs. I don't think he's going to be 40-40 or anything like that. I think he's got the speed to steal 30 bases a year. And if he's not a 30 for 30 guy, I think he's definitely a 25-30 guy. I think he can get 30 steals. I think he can at least hit 25 bombs. You're asking me what's the ceiling? I think it's 30-30. And that is a really, really good ceiling. And I think Wyatt Langford, with his intangibles, with the defense, the speed, I think he could be a guy that competes for Gold Gloves, no doubt Silver Sluggers. So this is a guy I believe can be in the MVP conversation when he reaches his maximum potential. I think the sky is the limit really for Wyatt Langford. I know clearly I'm wearing the Rangers on the cap, on the shirt. Call me biased, call me a homer, but I do think Wyatt has a very bright future in this league. And I'm going to say 30 for 30 consistently. 30 for 30. Let me keep going. See what we got in terms of other comments. Let's see. Aaron, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. The comment as well. Cant Anderson. Aaron, affectionately nicknamed Grant Anderson, Cant Anderson last year. Yeah, I'm not going to miss Grant. I'm not going to miss him coming into games and either getting completely ripped out there on the mound or just straight up not showing up and helping the Rangers in any meaningful way, regardless of what the lead was. Grant had a few bright spots. The delivery was a little funky. But look, I'm not sad that Grant Anderson is leaving. Not sad. Let's go. What do we think? I got to that clip. Gulf Coast got you. Appreciate that. Let's see what other moves we make before February. I'm excited for that. I think bullpen is probably going to be what the Rangers attend to more than anything. I know that there were some rumors Pete Alonso might be a guy that the Rangers are still in on. I really don't think that Pete Alonso is going to end up in Texas Rangers threads. Would I be mad? No, I wouldn't be mad if Pete Alonso made his way to Arlington, but I think when you consider the contract and everything else, I really personally would not go through with that deal. Again, I'll get behind it. I'll support it if it ends up happening. If you're just wanting my real opinion there, I don't want to overpay for Pete when I think that the Rangers have a pretty solid lineup right now. I really do. So I think we'll see what moves get made, but I think the Rangers are in a good position right now. Absolutely. All right. Let's keep going. Got a couple of new comments coming in on TikTok here. Let's see. You probably don't win the World Series if you make that trade. I read that one already. Was Molina on the tech? Got that. I got to keep going here. I'm getting behind. Who do I see stepping up to be the closer? Re-sign Yates? They have said, I think in different reports, Ken Rosenthal, we talked about this last week. Ken Rosenthal reported that the Rangers still have signing Yates as a priority. So I do think it's possible we get a Kirby Yates reunion. I do think that he might be a guy that the Rangers still pursue and end up signing, but I don't know what his market is right now. I can imagine with Aroldis Chapman getting paid nearly $11 million a year. I think we talked about the Aroldis Chapman signing. I think considering Aroldis Chapman's salary, Yates has got to be asking for that at minimum, I would think, coming off the season that he just had, I think that's probably the basement. Like, I'm starting at the Chapman number, which leads me to believe that Yates is probably going to be like an 11 million or 12 million type deal, maybe 1 or 2 years. I'm sure Yates is probably trying to get 2 years if I had to guess. But I think that it's probably going to be, at this point, I've said it for a while, probably a 50-50 shot. Like, it depends on what Kirby is willing to go for. I don't think he's going to give Texas any kind of hometown discount, but I definitely think that the Rangers are going to be in the running, and it's just going to depend. You got to think that they're interested in some other guys as well. Maybe Tanner Scott, AJ Minter. Those are guys I would absolutely be interested in signing. Chris Martin, I know that got a lot of steam last week. Chris Martin, could we be signing the hometown boy, bringing him back in Texas in a Texas Rangers uniform? Of course, he pitched for us, about 5-6 years ago. So I think there are some other guys that the Rangers are definitely doing their due diligence on. I think Yates is definitely in the mix, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. I do think my prediction would be one of those 4 names is going to end up in a Texas Rangers uniform. So we're talking about AJ Minter. We're talking about Tanner Scott, Chris Martin, Kirby Yates. I think one of those 4 guys is going to end up in Texas Rangers threads. That would be my prediction. You can keep going here. Joc and Corey back together again. Deer Hunter, what's up? Appreciate the comment, man. Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, I think Corey Seager, Joc Pederson reuniting. Of course, they were teammates in that 2017 World Series where the cheaters, the trash can banging Astros, managed to win in a Game 7. Of course, former Ranger Yu Darvish got roughed up in that Game 7. Not a lot of people on that Dodgers team, I can imagine, have any type of love lost for the Astros. Like, I know that they're going to definitely be looking at the Joc Pederson comments that he made in his press conference, which we're going to get to in a little bit here. Well, I loved it, by the way. Spoiler alert. But look, Joc Pederson, Corey Seager getting back together. Gotta love that. And Joc Pederson also played on the 2021 Braves team that beat the Astros. So Joc Pederson 1-1 when he plays the Astros in the World Series. That 2017 World Series, he actually raked against the Astros. 2021 World Series, I don't think he had a very good one. I think he was like 1 for 15 or 16. But in that World Series in 2017, Dodgers-Astros, he absolutely raked. So I got to think that that's fun for the two of them. Absolutely. Appreciate the gifts, by the way. Thank you so much. I see a few people have gifted. Shane, appreciate you, bud. If you're still hanging out, thank you, man. Appreciate the gift so much. Thank you. Gary says, I'm not a believer in Joc. I lost the comment. Now we have 2 guys who can't field and Joc can't hit lefties. Yeah, I don't think they really tried to have Joc hit lefties at all last year. I think we went through it on the show last week, and I think they gave him 40 ABs last year. It wasn't much. I'm not saying that Joc Pederson is going to be in the lineup every single day. I wouldn't mind seeing Joc and what he can do against lefties, though. I think you got to give him a chance. Much like I feel about Evan Carter, I would like to see Evan Carter get ABs against lefties. He's one of our top prospects. Like, sink or swim, man. You can't be a top prospect and turn into a platoon player right out the gate. I know some of y'all heard me say that over and over again. I kind of feel the same about Joc. You're paying him almost $20 million a year. You're paying him almost $20 million a year. Do we really want Joc to just be a platoon player? I know that the numbers say he struggles against lefties. For me, I'm giving him a shot. If I'm paying this guy $20 million a year, I'm at least seeing what he can do initially against lefties. I think that he improves in a lot of different categories. Number one, he hits fastballs. Gary, we struggled. You know how much we struggled against fastballs last year. This dude rakes against the fastball. If you look at some of his numbers against the fastball, slugging percentage, his, all of the advanced stats. I know slugging was a big one that I saw. He's in the tops in the league against the fastball. Like, this guy is going to undeniably improve our lineup. you definitely have to appreciate the fact that the Rangers didn't just sit back and count on every single player that had a down year last year coming back in 2025 and killing it. I love the proactive move. I do think the Joc Pederson move makes a big difference, and I do think it is going to help get the Rangers back to October ball. I really do. We'll see, though, Gary. Look, do I think he is going to be, a 40 home run guy and have 125 RBI? No, I don't. Do I think he's probably going to hit 25 bombs and flirt with 90 RBI? I do. That would be about my stat line for him. If Joc can hit 25 bombs and drive in 90, if he can get to flirt maybe with 30 home runs, go 90, 95, I think that would be incredible. I know that Joc Pederson was not an every single day player last year, but I do think he is going to dramatically improve the middle of our order. It was pretty bleak at times. I mean, last year in 2024, it was bleak. It was very, very frustrating to watch this team totally flounder in the dog days of summer, and they needed a guy like Joc Pederson to bring some fresh life into this lineup. I would have loved to have had him last year. Glad we have him this year. Keep going. Appreciate you. Shane, appreciate you, man. Thank you for all the gifts, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, bud. Means a lot to me. Like I said, hope you're having a great Christmas break, bud. Thank you. Let me keep going. Do I think baseball will ever value contact in 300 hitters again? Look, right now, baseball is infatuated with the home run and velocity. That is what baseball is infatuated with right now. And of course, we talked about a couple weeks ago the report that came out that you had a large number of these injuries and Tommy John surgeries with pitchers related to chasing velocity. And I know they got into the pitch clock a little bit. I've never been a big believer that the pitch clock was the problem. It's because everybody is putting a premium on guys that can touch triple digits. They just are. And so I think that it's going to be a little while before we get back to that. The contact hitting, the Greg Maddux type pitching, right? Guys that are actual pitchers, not just throwers, not guys that can just chuck it 101 miles an hour and they don't really have that much control. But you know what? If they get it anywhere remotely close in the strike zone, nobody's catching up to it anyways. There's a lot of guys like that right now, I think, in the big leagues. They're not pitchers. They're throwers. They can throw it 101, 102. So let's make them a relief pitcher and let's see what they got. Much like in the offensive side of the game, we have a lot of the analytics influencing the home run ball, right? The launch angle. I personally would love to see them get back to the contact hitting 300. The home runs come eventually if you're a good hitter, right? Like if you are good at hitting the baseball at an elite level in the major leagues, the home runs are going to come. I would really love to see them get back to that style of ball. I like it, but I'm one of those guys that appreciates all of the little things in the game of baseball. I love baseball strategy. I don't just love seeing home runs and nothing else. Like, it's great, but I don't want baseball to be endless home run derby. I love the little facets and components of the game of baseball. It's a thinking man's game. That's what's always been attractive to me about baseball. It's why I've always loved it. It's not, like I said, just about home runs strictly. There's so much more strategy that goes into it. I'd love to see baseball get back a little bit more to that. So I do definitely agree. Gary says we still need a closer. I do think that they're going to get one of those four guys that I just talked about. Chris Martin, AJ Minter, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates. I think one of those guys is going to end up a Ranger. I'd be really surprised if that didn't happen. Would be really surprised if it didn't happen. Let me keep going here. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm caught up. Oh, sweet. Is there any word on Rangers signing Kirby Yates? I think that I would say it's 50-50. The report Ken Rosenthal came out with about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, was it's still a top priority for the Rangers to re-sign Yates. Who knows if it's going to happen? I'm sure there's other teams that are interested in Kirby Yates, but the Rangers say top priority. I don't know how many years Bochy has left in him. I think Boch might, like, if they win it all, let's say they win it all this year, which I would love to see, and I know all y'all would too. I think Boch will probably retire. I think maybe even if they have a great season this year, I could see him walking away after this year. I don't want to see that. I would love Bruce Bochy to at least do a couple more years, maybe 2, 3. My prediction, which I don't think I'm unique in this, I think other people have thought the same thing. I don't think this is an original thought per se, but immediately when the Rangers brought Skip Schumacher on, I kind of thought to myself, that's got to be the guy that they're hoping replaces Bruce Bochy. I think Skip is probably going to be number one in line for replacing Bruce Bochy. So we lose Will Venable to the Chicago White Sox. Will Venable is going to be coaching the Chicago White Sox in 2025. When they hired Skip Schumacher, who was manager of the year a couple years ago and is very well respected as a major league manager in the game of baseball, I think he is going to be the coach in waiting. I don't think Bochy probably coaches more than 2 or 3 more years. I think maybe even this year could be his last year. I don't know. I don't have sources. It's just me musing. But I do think that Skip Schumacher is going to be the next coach of the Texas Rangers. I don't think that they're going to think too hard about that one. And I think that it was calculated when CY brought Skip Schumacher on after Will Venable had been signed by the White Sox. I think that that was one of the first things probably in his thought process. Hey, this could be a guy that takes over and becomes the Texas Rangers' new manager after Bruce Bochy is done. So that's my prediction. Take it with a grain of salt. I might be totally off, but I do think there's something to that. Let me see. Natalie says, I think Joc will bring more of Corey's personality out. I could see that. I think, look, Corey is a pretty closed book, man. You're not going to get a lot out of Corey Seager. I've heard he is a very nice, awesome dude. But some guys are just not going to be entertaining, if you will, in front of the camera. They just want to play to the highest level, to the best of their ability, and they kind of want to be left alone. They don't want to do all the social media rah-rah, all of that stuff. They just want to play ball and want to do their thing. And look, more power to him. I don't think Corey needs to be anything other than exactly what he is. A dude that freaking rakes and hits game-tying epic World Series home runs. Like, I don't need Corey Seager to be anything else. Look, if I'm being selfish, would it be great if we got a little more personality? Sure. But look, I could care less if Corey Seager is on one of those classic heaters where he's hitting 10 homers in 10 days. Like, and you know that we get one of those almost every year. So I absolutely am interested to see what the dynamic of the team is, bringing in Joc, of course, bringing in other guys too. You're bringing in new pitchers, you're bringing in new guys on the offensive side. It's all fun. And every team has a little bit of a new personality, a different personality. It'll be great to see what the Rangers are like in 2025. I am really, really excited for this year. Look, the rest of the league, though, and the public at large, I've already said it, kind of sleeping on the Rangers. 25-1 odds. I couldn't even believe that. I know we talked about the Rangers' odds to win the World Series here in Vegas. It's 25-1. I can't even believe that they're that much of a long shot re-signing Evo, getting Joc Pederson. Like, this team was not that far off last year. And last year, the Rangers had so many injuries. Like, their entire pitching staff was hurt. Andrew Heaney was the only guy, it felt like, that was healthy all season long. I know he definitely was. Maybe there was another relief pitcher. Otherwise, every starting pitcher for Texas was hurt. Josh Young on the offensive side, Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford missed a month. Corey Seager missed the last, month of the season? Like, I don't know why the Rangers are being so slept on this year. A fully healthy Rangers team with the addition of Joc Pederson, along with maybe the high upside of guys like Wyatt Langford and Kumar Rocker. I don't know how you can't be high on this team. I really don't understand why anyone would not be high on the Rangers, at least for a bounce back. Like, at minimum for a bounce back and a winning season, making the playoffs. Maybe World Series is a little lofty, but I don't know. I think as I look at the AL, there's no team in the AL that I say to myself, they're unbeatable. Yankees got a little bit better, right? They added Bellinger. They added a couple other pieces. I think the Yankees, even though they lose Soto, they did get a little bit better in other areas. But I think the Yankees are beatable. I don't think the Yankees are this insurmountable foe that no one can topple. And you look at other teams around the league, the Astros, I think the Astros are beatable. Are they a terrible team? Do they suck? No. Do I hate them with all of my being? Yes. But I will say this. I think you look at the other divisions too. What in the AL East, you've got Tampa, you've got Toronto, you've got the Red Sox, you got Orioles. Nobody's jumping off the page. The Orioles, I really will say with them, great regular season team, can't win in October. I thought the Orioles were going to the World Series last year. My prediction was Orioles-Dodgers, with Dodgers winning it. I got the Dodgers winning it part right. Orioles flamed out just like they did in 2023. I can't take the Orioles seriously right now. Like, do I think they're going to be a good team in 25? Yes. But I just really can't take the Orioles seriously in terms of being a World Series contender. Like, you're consistently losing in October immediately, and you lost Corbin Burns. I really can't take the O's seriously. I think that they're going to be a winning team this year, but I'm not worried about them come playoff time. And then in the Central, you've got the Twins. They flamed out in epic proportions last year. You got the Tigers. You've got the Royals again. Nobody really striking fear in my heart in the AL. I think it's the Rangers for the taking if they want it. Like, a lot of things have to go right. I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk, but don't sit there and tell me that there's somebody in the AL that's just going to be dog walking everybody all season long. I don't believe it. I don't see it. I think it's the Yankees. I think it's the Royals and the Astros. Maybe for the competition, you want to throw another AL East team in there, fine. But I think it's those three teams in the Rangers' way. And I don't look at any of those three teams and think to myself, impossible. That's just me. Keep going. DC4L, appreciate the follow, man. Thank you so much. I know it's been a little while since you commented, but I appreciate that. Is there, let's see, I got to get caught up here. Oh, appreciate the follows too. Wisconsin Sports, what's up? Wisco Sports, tell me about Grant Anderson. Brewers just traded for him. Look, I'll try and be nice, Wisco Sports, if you're still hanging out. Grant Anderson, funky delivery, kind of goes down low, not really submarine, but we'll say sidearm pitcher. Definitely a guy that can get swings and misses, but did not have a good 2 years for the Rangers. My guess on Grant Anderson is that the Brewers probably think that they can tweak a couple of things and fix him. Otherwise, I don't really know why you would trade for him based on numbers alone. My thought is the Brewers and their staff probably have seen the tape. They've looked at Grant Anderson, scouted him, and they say to themselves, we can unlock something that the Rangers weren't able to. And I do think maybe they have a point. Like, Grant Anderson's got the sweeping slider, coming from that sidearm delivery. When you look at Grant Anderson without the results, I thought when Grant came up and first pitched with us, what was it, in 23? I thought to myself, this could be a good change of pace guy that could come in, get some ground ball outs, get some swings and misses. I was not low on Grant Anderson. I wasn't high either, but I thought Grant could come in and have some success. He just, I think, really lost some confidence. And my guess is that the Brewers have seen some things that they're going to be able to tweak. And we are going to see maybe Grant looking a little new and improved in 2025. That's my best guess. Appreciate the follow, though, bud. Thank you so much, and thank you for the comment as well. Brewers work magic with pitchers, get a lot out of a little. If that is accurate, which I'm going to trust you, knowing the Brewers way better than I do, that is probably exactly what they are thinking. And look, hopefully for you, I don't have any ill will towards the Brewers. Hopefully for you, that'll work out. But I think that's the only reason you trade for a guy like Grant Anderson, because the numbers should be enough to scare you away. To scare you away. What 6+ ERA, the last 2 seasons. So clearly the Brewers see something, and I would think that they would be able to get him to at least a little bit of a better place. Change of scenery can be everything sometimes for baseball players. I hope that that's the case with Grant Anderson. Look, we don't have to see him, maybe except for interleague play. I know the Rangers and Brewers played each other in Milwaukee earlier in the season. What was it, like May or June? I don't know if they play each other this year. I remember the schedule pretty well. I don't think we played the Brewers this year, but we played them last year. I don't mind seeing former Rangers do well ever, unless they're playing for like the Astros. So like Robinson Chirinos strike out every single time. Am I right? Like, I don't mind, though, anybody else. Even Joey Gallo on the Yankees, I really didn't mind cheering for him as much as I don't love the Yankees either. But Grant Anderson will have my full support next year. All right. Gary agrees with you, Wisco Sports, by the way. Gary says Brewers can develop pitching, and we struggle with that. I think that there's going to be a lot revealed about the Rangers and their pitching development this year. Like, are they going to get Jack Leiter right? Are we going to get Jack Leiter right? Is Kumar Rocker going to take that next step? We saw a lot of promise with Kumar in his 2 or 3 or however many outings it was. Is Kumar going to take that next step? I think this is going to be a year where we really find out a lot about the Rangers' development. If Leiter comes out and still looks like the exact same dude that pitched for us last year and struggled by and large throughout the season, and Kumar Rocker is like, getting some swings and misses, but not killing it. Look, I don't know. I'm not going to be coming down with the ultimate judgment or anything like that, but I just think this is going to be a year that tells you a lot about how well the Rangers develop their pitchers. We'll see what happens. Keep going. Wisco Sports, appreciate that comment, man. Great show, tons of energy. I try. It's hard in the off season, and I appreciate all y'all diehards. All you guys give me the motivation to keep doing this, because when I first had this idea, I'm like, once a week, what am I going to talk about? The MLB off season can just drag on and on and on, but you guys make it fresh with all the good comments and questions, so I appreciate it. And look, the Rangers and the front office are doing us a lot of favors as fans. There's been quite a bit to talk about. Good rumor mill stuff floating around, which brings me to Roki Sasaki. And Corey, by the way, yes, I am going to be trying to go to spring training February 16th, something like that, when everybody starts reporting. It's getting here pretty quick within the next 6 weeks or so. I will be at spring training. I am going to see if I can do a couple of fun things. Look, don't get your hopes up. We're not going to be like blowing it out with a big party or anything. But I will say I maybe am going to try and do like a couple of shows from the field, maybe post game. I'm going to have to see what the rules are with that. Some ballparks are really picky about after the game stuff, but I'm going to try and do something fun like that, whether it's right there on the field or whether it's outside the stadium. But yes, I'll probably make that trip down to Surprise. It's about a 4-hour drive from here in Vegas where I'm at. So I always try and go to spring training. So I definitely am going to try and put that on my priority list, making it down for at least a couple of games. If you're going to be at spring training, DM me, PM me, let me know, and we can try and maybe meet up. I would love to meet some of you guys, hang out, talk Rangers baseball, take in some of the action. So more on that later. Let's talk about Roki Sasaki, though, shall we? So we talked about Roki, obviously, last show and pretty much every show, because everybody wants to know what's going on. And here's the update. Roki is back in Japan at this point. This is all reports that I've gathered from Rangers, MLB media. And so he's met with his first round of teams. And a lot of y'all asked me, what's the chances of Roki? What are the odds that we get him? I do have a lot of hope that the Rangers are going to be in the mix. There are some teams that Roki Sasaki straight up rejected and did not meet with while he was in the United States before he went back to Japan. So the Red Sox were one of those teams. The Red Sox sent a request to meet. They sent information, and he did not meet with the Red Sox. Now, maybe the Red Sox come back into the fold, perhaps in a week or two, whenever Roki Sasaki decides to get a little bit more serious about making his decision. But I think it's a very, very positive sign, that Roki Sasaki met with the Rangers face to face. And then you're getting these reports that he didn't meet face to face with other teams that rejected, or with other teams, that proposed to have a meeting with him and gave him maybe an initial offer, whatever the case may have been. So I take confidence, I take hope in the fact that the Rangers actually got a meeting with Roki Sasaki. I think that's a huge positive. I would absolutely not be getting discouraged at all by the long game that's being played right now. They've said for a long time that Roki Sasaki was not going to be signing until after January 15th. Somewhere maybe between January 15th and like January 23rd is the last thing I heard. So we've got a few weeks. So look, no news is good news. That's kind of how I'm operating with Roki Sasaki. I think the Rangers have a great chance. The Rangers were able to get Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish was a huge name coming out of Japan in the early 2010s. Interesting story here. My parents, my stepdad, my mom, they actually lived in Tokyo for a couple of years back in the early 2010s. Got to go to a Yomiuri Giants game. Baseball is insane over there. If you have never been to Japan, first of all, I'd highly recommend you go. Amazing place. And if you do go to Japan, you must go see a baseball game. It is incredible. The atmosphere, the environment, how much the fans are into the games. I genuinely wish that the atmosphere that they get in Japan for baseball could be something that we bring to the United States. Like, clearly October baseball is in and of itself electric, but I was at like a regular season game and it was totally lit. Like the crowd cheering, chanting, there's a constant buzz. It's a regular season game. And I was just thinking to myself, I wish this was every regular season game in the United States. I know it's a little bit of a different culture. I don't know if it's ever going to be perfectly matched, but I would highly recommend go to Japan, do a week or two there, and take in a couple of baseball games. It is incredible. One of my most memorable and favorite experiences from my time going over there. But back to Yu Darvish, I was able to talk to some different people when I was in Japan, met some friends along the way. Yu Darvish was like a legend in Japan. Like everybody knows Yu Darvish there. That is a huge name. So for Yu Darvish to sign with the Rangers, look, I know it's not the same management. We know that was not Chris Young, but I do think that the Texas Rangers are a team in Japan that people paid attention to because of Yu Darvish. Roki Sasaki watched the Texas Rangers, watched Yu Darvish growing up. Yu Darvish was one of his idols. I've got to think that there's some positive vibes around the Rangers in Roki Sasaki's camp. And that the Rangers went over there in October, saw him live. They've made at least one trip out there personally to see him, meet with him, scout him, and then they get the meeting in the United States. I think there's some very positive things in the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes that are unfolding for Texas. I know that the Dodgers, the Padres, just naturally in the media are always going to be the favorite. Just remember, Shohei Ohtani, he was down to a number of different teams, and the Rangers were in that mix. We were in the Ohtani mix before he signed with the Angels. And I believe another big reason for that, Yu Darvish and the relationships that were built over in Asia and in Japan with the Rangers organization. A lot of Japanese players growing up idolizing Yu Darvish and watching a lot of Rangers baseball because of it. I'm positive about it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a foregone conclusion, but I do think the Rangers have a legitimate shot to sign him, especially because money is not a huge issue. It's a very level playing field when it comes to the money with Roki Sasaki because of his amateur status. It definitely makes a difference. But with Roki Sasaki coming over a little bit early in his Japanese professional career versus a Yu Darvish, versus a Shohei Ohtani, that absolutely is going to make things a little bit easier for some of these small market teams to compete and to sign Roki Sasaki. We keep going. Let's see. What do I got? He's going to the Dodgers. Meh. Maybe. Easy to say, but I really do feel like the Rangers have a shot. Get Mad Max back, put him in the bullpen, sign Sasaki. I don't think Mad Max is coming back. And look, for me, with Mad Max, love the guy, love the competitive juice, just love everything about him. But he was just so injury prone last year. Even when we had him in the 2023 run, I just do not want to deal with the injuries with Max Scherzer. And I don't think that 2025 is going to be a year where he avoids any type of injury. I'm not wishing ill will on the guy. I just don't think that it's likely that Max is at a place where he's going to have a string of very healthy, 100% healthy seasons. I think it's probably going to be a little bit more of the same for Max, just at the point that he's at with his career, his age. I'm not willing to invest money in Max Scherzer at this point. Appreciate all that he did for the Rangers while he was with us for the year and a half. I know that some Rangers fans don't feel like he contributed at all to the World Series ring. I beg to differ. He pitched in the ALCS, pitched in the World Series. I definitely got to give him some props. We did utilize him, but he definitely did not live up to what we gave away to the Mets to get him. And I'm okay with the Max Scherzer experiment, whatever you want to call it, coming to an end. Let me keep going. Aaron says, wanted to go watch baseball in Japan this season, but can't do that long on a plane. My back would disown me. It is a long flight to Japan. I forget how long it was. I flew out of Minneapolis, I believe. There at that time, they didn't have as many direct flights to Tokyo. I was not living in the DFW area at the time. I know Dallas-Fort Worth Airport has a direct flight to Tokyo now. Don't know what they did back then, but it was like a 14-hour flight. It was long. It was at least 12 hours. It might have been 14. It was long. Definitely am not a big-time sleeper on planes either. The people that can just sleep for like 7 or 8 hours on a plane, like I wish I had that ability. Genuinely, I'm one of those people that maybe can get like an hour intermittently here or there if I'm lucky, and then I'm waking up. I just can't get comfortable. The people that though can do like 8 hours, like I don't even know if you're from this planet. Like that is just so weird and foreign to me. Sleeping in a slightly reclined position for 8 hours straight, crazy. That is an ability that I do not have. But you look, when I was young, going to Japan, you know, the adrenaline's going. You're going to a new country. You're excited about the trip. I was excited to see family. It's all good. It is a long plane ride, though, 100%. If you can get over the long plane ride, though, it is extremely worth it. Highly recommend. Let me keep going here. Tristan says, what a great game by, Texas Longhorns last night. Really ready for next Friday. Look, we did a long Longhorn show last night. It was incredible. Went live during the fourth quarter and overtime. Hadn't done that for a Texas Longhorns game yet. It was a blast. Hook 'em Horns, 8 days away from the matchup in the Cotton Bowl in Arlington with Ohio State. That's going to be a tough game. I'm definitely not feeling like it's going to be a blowout one way or another. I think it's going to be a great game between those two juggernauts. Let's keep going here. Rangers are sellers. Are they going all in this year? The Rangers are definitely going all in this year, no doubt. I don't think that that's a question. The Rangers signing Evo, 3 years, $75 million. Clearly, they're not selling. Now, if the season goes a little bit haywire, maybe they'll be sellers, but I think that the Rangers are going to be good this year. I think they're going to reclaim the AL West, much like Joc Pederson said in his presser. Astros had a nice little run, as he put it, right? Nice little run, cheating along the way, but nice little run. And he went on to say, by the way, I got the quote up in front of me, in the playoffs, played the Astros a couple times in the World Series, put together a nice little run, and it's coming to an end. and it's time for us to take over the West. So like I said, there's a lot of things that are going in the right direction for the Rangers to be on top of this division. Great quote from Joc Pederson. Love the guy already. But I do think that at this point, you're going to see the Rangers continue to make some good moves, shoring up the bullpen, maybe spending a little bit of money for a double-digit millions reliever, whether it be a Chris Martin, a Kirby Yates. I think you're going to see the Rangers continue to spend a little bit here on the bullpen especially. You got to have an 8th and 9th inning guy to rely on. You had David Robertson and Kirby Yates. The Rangers kind of wasted that opportunity. Now you've got to make sure that you have the 8th and the 9th inning shored up this year. You've got everybody healthy coming back. You've added Joc Pederson. You've re-signed Evo. The last thing that you want to do is have a crap bullpen that blows and gives all the games away that you work hard to work a lead with a great lineup and good starting pitching. You don't want to be stuck with a bullpen that's consistently soiling the bed and wasting all the hard work you do in the early innings. So I do think the Rangers see why they're going to go out and they're going to get a couple of really solid names that are going to help shore up the back end of that bullpen. I'm excited to see what the moves are. Look, really only about a month and a half left of the offseason before most rosters get set. I know we kind of had a little bit of funny business last year, like, with, of course, Jordan Montgomery. And, you had other Boris agents that were holding out into spring training, well into spring training. I would like to see a little bit less of that, but of course, you can't control the contracts. I'm curious, when's Pete Alonso going to get signed? Are the Mets going to finally pull the trigger? Pete, I think, is asking for $30 million a year. I don't know if any of y'all heard that. I heard Pete's asking for $30 million a year. I heard 3 years, $30 million. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm misremembering, to quote Roger Clemens, but I definitely think that they're going to have to make some adjustments there in the contract asks. I don't think $30 million is going to be an attainable number for Pete Alonso. I think 25. I can't see $30 million. JJ, what's up, man? Mason Molina, what's up with this guy? Grant Anderson gone about time. I'm with you on Grant Anderson. Mason Molina, I think, is just going to be a minor league guy. Lefty, some swing and miss stuff. I definitely think he's got potential, but I don't think he's going to be contributing in meaningful ways for the Rangers at this point. That's my guess. I could be totally wrong on that, but based on what I've seen, I don't think that you are going to get meaningful innings out of Mason Molina this year. But is he a guy that's good to have for depth? Lefty, strikes out more guys than I think you normally see for lefties. You've got, I believe, like I said, 58 innings pitched, like 81, 82 strikeouts. That was his last year with the Arkansas Razorbacks. So I think he's a guy that is probably going to need a couple years in the minors before he comes up and makes a difference on the big league club. Let me keep going. If Young struggles or gets injured again, could you see us going in on Murakami if he's posted? I think that Murakami is going to get a lot of interest, no doubt. And it was so fun in the World Baseball Classic to see some of these Japanese players really shine and get a chance to see their work up close and personal. That was a blast. And I think that it's great for them, like Roki Sasaki, all those guys, Yamamoto, Murakami, all of these guys, I think, got such a big stage playing in the World Baseball Classic. I absolutely love it. And I think that needs to be continuing, something that needs to continue to get bigger and bigger. I hope MLB continues to invest time, thought, resources into making the World Baseball Classic as big as possible. I still remember, this is back in, I think, in 2016, maybe 2015. But I think you guys remember that team that had like Adam Jones and Eric Hosmer and just won the whole thing. And it was just like this crazy epic run. I had so much fun cheering for that team. And I love that the World Baseball Classic is gaining some really, really positive traction, something that a lot more people are tuning in for. I hope that they continue to spend time, energy, resources, making it bigger and bigger. I think Josh Young, though, I'm not too worried about Josh Young struggling. Going back to that comment, I'm not too worried about that, honestly. Richard, what makes you worried if you're still hanging out? Is it just the slow or at least the poor ending in 2024? Something tells me I think Josh probably wasn't all the way 100% fully healthy. I know he wasn't. The reports were coming out that he still had soreness. I think Josh Young struggled at the end of 2024 because of the wrist injury not being fully healed. The Rangers probably rushed him back a little bit. They needed the reinforcements. I think that a fully healthy Josh Young is going to have a really good season. I mean, the dude was hitting 429 in the first week and a half of the season in 2024 before the injury. I think Josh Young is going to continue to get better and better. I'm not worried about a Josh Young regression at all. Keep going. Love Joc. Seager, I'm sure is happy. Get his old pal back. Yes, absolutely. Tejano Country, what's up, man? If we do sign 1 to 2 more relievers, hang on one sec while I do this TikTok captcha because I'm going over an hour on the live here. 1 to 2 more relievers. Who will we DFA to clear roster space? That's a tough one. There are a few guys that I think you probably could DFA. Let me look at the 40-man right now, though. I haven't looked at the 40-man in a second, so let me look at the 40-man, and I'll tell you who I think they should DFA, and I'll let you know if there's somebody I think they should, but they probably won't. So I think here's a couple of guys that I think would definitely be considered for DFAs looking at the 40-man right now. So I think a guy like Festa is probably a candidate. Festa had some good moments, but look, 5.70 ERA. And this is a guy that is in his early 30s. I think Festa should probably be a candidate if they did need to DFA somebody. I don't want to see this just because I had fun cheering for him, but I got to think Garabito is probably a candidate. Garrison Garabito looks like he is going to be 30 this year. Made his debut for the Rangers this past season. I could see Garabito being a guy that gets DFA'd. I'm looking through the rest right now and just trying to pick it apart on the fly here. I really haven't thought a lot about this. I wonder, and I think this one is probably out of left field, but just because the Rangers, I know, drafted him in the first round, but Cole Winn is a guy I wonder, are the Rangers really going to keep him around? Like 2018, you drafted Cole Winn. He had a 7.79 ERA last year in 13 games. I know he was a first-round pick, and I'm sure there's a little bit of hesitancy to dump him, but I'm not a big believer in Cole Winn. I think that could be and probably should be a guy that gets DFA'd. Maybe somebody else really loves what they see, a la the Milwaukee Brewers with Grant Anderson. I don't really know what is giving you a lot of positive vibes about Cole Winn. The minors last year, 2024, he pitched in AAA 10 games at a 3.45 ERA in AAA. But look, 7.79 ERA in 13 games in the big leagues. In 2023 in AAA, Cole Winn had a 7.22 ERA, 2022 6.51. I think Cole Winn is probably going to be a guy on the chopping block sooner rather than later. So I think those are the three pitchers. I'm not saying I'm rooting for them to get DFA'd. I never do that, but I think that you've probably got to have those names up at the top of the list. In terms of infielders and outfielders, position players, I don't think anybody really stands out. I don't think Foscue is going to be a guy they DFA as bad as he was. Ornelas, same thing. I can't see them DFAing any position players. I think it's going to end up being one of those three guys. Again, I'm going Festa, Garabito, and Cole Winn. I don't think that either three of those guys is going to be a huge loss for the organization. You guys let me know if you disagree or if you got another name in mind. Owen White did get DFA. He did get DFA. Cole Winn didn't live up to expectation. They need to move on. I do agree with that. I definitely think 2018, guys, come on. We've had Cole Winn in the minors for 7 years. 7 years in the minors. I get it. Some guys take a little longer to develop than others, but for me, if you're not a major leaguer after 7 years, are you ever going to be? If you're not a consistent major leaguer after 7 years in the minors, I think it might be time to move on. Foscue, I think they're going to give this season. I think this is a make or break year for Justin. My hope with Foscue, if he can have a decent run in the early months, maybe a guy that you can trade at the deadline to help get some kind of package to help you on that playoff run that the Rangers will be making in 2025. I hope that some of these guys that struggle turn it around, because then they can become trade bait to go out and get somebody special. Let's keep going. We haven't had good luck with first round picks. No, we haven't. So Foscue, Davis Wenzel was a first round pick. Of course, the Rangers drafted Davis Wenzel right before Gunnar Henderson. I know some of y'all have heard me say that. I can never get over that. I actually found that out last year, that the Rangers could have had Gunnar Henderson in that draft, but instead they went Davis Wenzel. No hate to Davis Wenzel. I don't hate anybody. I know it sounds like you're a hater. For those of you that maybe don't know me very well or haven't been following me for a while, I don't want to come off that way. Those of you that have followed me for a while, you know I'm not like that. But look, Davis Wenzel, 128 batting average in the 2024 season. The Rangers let go of him. I think they're going to have to start following suit with some of these other first-round guys. It's just not pretty. Not pretty. Texas Rangers drafted Wenzel first round, and he was the 41st overall pick. And then I think Gunnar Henderson went 42, like literally the next pick. So not good for the Rangers. I sure hope that future drafts can be kinder to them. Jesse, thank you for the comment. Want to trade an outfielder for like Andrew Abbott, maybe Edwin Arroyo, if the outfielder is good enough. So I think that the Rangers could definitely trade Leody Taveras, try and get somebody else for him. I think that's really the only guy at this point in the outfield right now. I mean, if you want to throw Ezekiel Duran's name in there as an outfielder, maybe. But personally, I don't think that the Rangers are going to pull the trigger on Taveras. I think they're keeping Leody for another season. I don't think CY comes out and says in the exit interview, Leody needs to take the next step if they weren't planning on keeping him. So I think Duran, maybe Josh Smith. I know nobody wants to hear that, but I think those two guys are more probable to be traded than any of the Rangers outfielders. I don't have any kind of sourcing on that. I do know that Duran has been a name that's gotten thrown out a lot around Ranger circles. They shut him down from winter ball, by the way, and they said it was because of an injury or some soreness or something like that. A lot of people were thinking maybe he's going to be traded, talking about Ezekiel Duran, super utility guy for the Rangers. I think Duran is probably the most likely to be traded. I'd be really surprised if we traded Taveras or an outfielder. I definitely would like to see them trade Taveras. I think kind of like Cole Winn, he's run his course. We've had some good moments from him, but I'd like to see the Rangers move forward. I don't really see a big-time path for Leody in playing time, besides maybe spelling somebody occasionally. But Evan Carter needs to play every day eventually. Wyatt Langford needs to play every day. And then Joc Pederson and Dolly need to be in the lineup every day out there. I don't know how much value keeping Taveras really brings, but I think they're going to. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's see. Ohio State fan, boo. We'll see what happens next week, though. That'll be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, y'all. It is getting to be about that time. I appreciate everybody hanging out. We will be live this weekend to wrap up the NFL season. I believe the Cowboys take on the Commanders in the early slot. So that'll be a 12 p.m. start in Texas. That game's going to be at Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium in Arlington. We'll be live after that game to talk all things Dallas Cowboys, wrap up the season. And much like we do with the Rangers, we'll be doing a Dallas Cowboys offseason show. We'll do the same thing with the Texas Longhorns, where we'll go through all the news, the rumor mill, all of that stuff, talk about the 2025 draft and who the Cowboys have been linked to, all that good stuff. It'll be really fun. So I'm going to do the same thing like I do with Rangers, with all the other teams I cover when their offseason hits. More information on that. But I will be back on Sunday to talk Cowboys. I'll be back Wednesday again to talk Texas Rangers. And then we're going to be doing a special show on Thursday to preview the Texas Longhorns game against the Ohio State Buckeyes. We've got the Cotton Bowl also at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. And we'll do, like I said, a little pregame show Thursday. We'll go live on Friday at the end of the game. Win or lose, rain or shine, we'll be here. You know, we don't shy away. We made it through the entire Rangers season without giving up. So if that doesn't tell you something about my resolve, I don't know what will. So whether the Texas Longhorns have a good game on Friday against the Buckeyes or not, we'll be here hanging out, breaking it down, giving you our live and rapid reaction. And that is our schedule, looking out for the immediate future. I want to say a special thank you to all y'all. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for following. I know a lot of people followed during the course of the show. And thank you for sharing this with another fellow Rangers fan. You know somebody that's a diehard. You know somebody that's going to have some strong opinions, and bring them into our chat. I would love it. Let's keep growing this good group of people we got talking ball, talking Rangers baseball. I really appreciate all of you. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.